Hello, welcome to the family. We've got your back. This week is episode 60.
60.
60.
60 is a number, we deal with time in base 60.
Oh gosh.
It's...
Didn't know you were getting a math lesson, did you? That's what happens at our house.
It's extremely, it's so usable, right? 60 is a very nice, usable number.
Math describes the universe, and therefore we can talk about it
every episode.
Every episode. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we had fun celebrating our anniversary. We went to a bougie restaurant, and then we went to a store whose a little marquee says bougie on a budget. So we went to like an Overstock store and expired candy, and we got Reese's sticks for 50 cents, the king size.
King size. And in a vending machine, that's going to be $1.50, if anything.
Oh, $2.
$2 in a vending machine?
Oh, more. Yeah, at least. Maybe even $3. At the store we sold them at, they were like $2.49 or something like that.
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah.
Screaming deal.
50. So we each got a king size. We didn't eat them in one sitting, but we felt pretty special. Fancy restaurant. Get nice dressed up, then go to this discount store, and we're all like in fancy clothes, and people are like in their sweats, and because it's a Friday night or Tuesday night,
It's a Tuesday night.
So people are in their sweats and stuff, and we're like hee hee. So we're holding hands and walking through the aisles, picking out expired candy. It was great.
And entering a food coma, if I remember correctly.
And
it's like all of a sudden the wall.
We both hit a food coma right then, and we're like, oh, we're going home.
We need to go home before we wreck the car.
So we did, and fell asleep watching a movie, because that's what old people do. It was kind of fun.
We're not old.
No, but we had a great day. It was a great day. During dinner, Trent asked me what were the best 5 dates we've ever been on. And I was like, our first date, that was fun. That was
really fun.
That was a fun one. We went to a play in the rain, play in the rain.
Yeah, it was Music Man.
No, it wasn't.
No, was it Singing in the Rain?
No, it wasn't. I can't remember what it was.
It was one of those. I remember the statue of Professor Harold Hill, the founder. I'm sure it was.
I can't remember what it was.
I'm certain that it was Music Man.
I don't think it really mattered to me. It was just fun. Going to a play, sitting on a hill, having fun dinner. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that baseball game where that girl was so funny. And we were just reminiscing about all the great times in our life. And we just really, really enjoyed the day. So it doesn't matter what you do, because, you can go to a discount store, or you can go to a bougie restaurant, or you can go on a cruise, or you can give each other custom artwork like AI says you should on your 25th anniversary. Yeah, whatever.
Custom artwork?
Yeah, that's what it said. I'm like,
we could have had the AI make some custom artwork.
Yeah, we could have just drawn circles on a page and called it, cubism or something.
Wouldn't that be circleism?
Funny. Anyway, I'm just saying, modern art, we could have just done it ourselves, and hey, there you go. But anyway, so it doesn't really matter what you do, because you're enjoying your time together.
Right.
And our daughter sent us a study that in her family science class that she's taking, and I found it incredibly similar. So this was done in the 2009, something like that. And so about 10 years after my degree, right? And so they're remarkably similar, actually.
It's not crazy, really, though.
A generation later, like a decade later from the studies that I was studying.
Yeah.
They're not all that different. So what that said to me was that human nature it's kind of been the same since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Humans are humans, right? Like they're We have the same needs.
How we perceive things might change a little bit.
The world we live in is completely different, but the way we interact with that world is very similar, and we come to very similar conclusions. Yes, we might have much more education and technical knowledge than ancient history people, and have different moral basis
and we have
decision-making skills or whatever.
Yeah.
But what we need out of life, we still need air. And we still need water. We still need shelter.
Yep.
We still need food. We have,
and
the way we respond to those, the abundance of those is just very similar.
Yeah.
And so the way we are happy families, strong, surviving families, like the continue to uplift society, they have very similar characteristics. And so we thought we'd talk about that newer study. And so it's called 6 Characteristics of a Strong Family, and it's the Strong Families Project from the University of Nebraska. And the reason our daughter brought this one up to us was because she lived in Nebraska for about a year and a half, several years ago. Yeah. And so it was like, hey, Nebraska. So anyway, that's our...
Bless her.
So that's why she sent it to us. Hey, Nebraska. So anyway, so we thought we'd share that with you. So the first one is appreciation and affection. So now we're not saying that all families that are strong and endure do exactly the same thing and look exactly the same and they're this ideal. And that's not what we're saying. We're saying that these characteristics are present, typically present in strong families, but the way they are expressed is so different and individual, right? And so don't feel like we're trying to make you into this cookie cutter family what we're saying you have to be.
These are broad categories that can be used by any family, anywhere.
The way you show appreciation and affection is vastly different than somebody else, right? But as long as the intent is there, that is what the study showed, that they love each other. They're and they appreciate each other. So a while ago we talked about appreciation and then expectation and then demand. So those the states of being. Right? So if you're like, well, I expected you to do this and you didn't, and now I'm disappointed in you, or I do this. You do this, right? And then you're like, well, no, thank you. I'm not. Don't tell me what to do.
If you want that done,
you're not the boss of me.
Then you can do it yourself.
Right. Okay, none of that, right? So we're saying stay in appreciation mode. If they do something for you, you are grateful.
Yeah.
And families that are strong, typically stay in the appreciation mode.
Yeah.
Or the way of being. It's like, oh, you did the dishes, thank you.
Yeah.
Even though it was their assigned chore or a responsibility, right? Oh, thanks for cleaning the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it was my job. Well, thanks for doing it instead of you didn't do it.
There's a guideline that we have at our school. It's the 4-to-1 guideline. For everything that I ask or expect my students to do, I should be praising at a ratio of 4-to-1.
Right. So if you need to criticize, make sure that
I really like how you got out your pencil today.
Oh my gosh, is that really one that you have to do?
Because if the bar is so low, then you have to meet them where they're at.
Thanks for coming to class.
Hey, it's good to see you today. But you have to be genuine. You have to be genuine. You have to mean it. It's like, oh, hey, yeah, I really like how you did your hair today.
Oh, but be careful with that one.
Oh yeah, okay. You got to be careful who you're talking to.
Okay, but that ties in with number 3 is be mindful. You are mindful of how you treat each other and understand how the other gives and receives love, and they understand how you give and receive love or appreciation and affection, right?
Yeah.
So they are aware and are careful.
And
right?
at the very least, if you don't understand their love language or however they receive it, then
or
you're at
however
least
you
trying.
want to phrase it.
You're at least trying.
Right. There's an effort there.
There's an effort to meet them and have a positive interaction with them, even if you fumble it up. Because we all fumble things up.
Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry. I have a on my phone. I have that on my phone, and it was only showing 3. It had to think for a sec to show me the other slides. So I was a little worried here. Okay, so the next one is commitment, and so this one we've talked about. It's in my book. It's the month 6 of my book, if you're doing that. It's, you made promises when you got married and became a family. And it's like, when it's hard, I will be there for you.
Yeah.
As well as when it's great. Like, life is hard, and I'm not a fair weather companion. I will stick with you. And people who create strong families take that promise seriously.
Yeah.
And they keep their promises, and they keep their commitments, and they say, okay, no matter what, we're going to figure this out.
Yeah. That first one is one that I like quite a bit, because you recognize that your differences don't define you, right? Your differences, and so you can view your differences and then build towards some kind of understanding.
Right. Differences,
they don't divide you.
Don't cause divisiveness, they cause closeness, right?
Yeah.
It's like the differences are appreciated. The struggles that happen in life don't tear you apart, because you say, no matter what, we'll figure it out, right?
There was back in the 90s, there was a episode of the Seinfeld where his girlfriend was just like him. And he's like, I've been looking for myself my whole life. It's like, stinking Jared.
Okay. I was like, where are you going with this one?
And it's like, that's not going to happen. That happens in a sitcom for comedy.
Yeah. Okay, just so you know, like the male version of myself, I would probably want to murder. I mean, I'm not a violent person.
Not violent.
Okay, well, I am a little bit, but I'm not. I don't commit murder. Anyway, so yeah, what we're saying is you need those differences to balance each other out. Right. And I think Trent and I allow our differences to balance each other out.
We do.
And we don't let that come in between us.
No.
To wreck us, right? Okay, so the third one we've talked about before, and in my study, it was, no matter how long your list of strong family characteristics, communication is always on the list, but it's always the last one, and that's because it's the result of all these other characteristics. Like, right. If you appreciate and are affectionate with each other, then you will communicate more effectively. If you are committed to each other, then you say, okay, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not going to mistreat them in the way I speak to them or in the way what I offer.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So it's the product of what you value and all the positive and negatives. It's like the both. And so if you are struggling with your communication, find out where you are negative in your relationship and be like, oh, I don't trust them. And so I'm treating them that way because I don't trust them. Or I have anger issues and I let that control my behavior. Mm-hmm. So, and you know what I mean? Like, so if your communication is struggling, then what belief and value are you struggling with that is negatively impacting your communication? Or if you have great communication, then good job. Your actions are in line with your values, right?
Right.
And so communication needs to be on the list somewhere, right? And so Trent liked this one where it's no communication. Your communications aren't judgmental, but they're helpful. And judgment, like, don't judge me. It's like
we all
have to make judgment calls. Do I need to drive in this weather? Like, that's a judgment call,
right?
Or, what should I wear today? That's a judgment call. Well,
and we make judgments with all of the relationships we're in too,
and
right?
As a parent, you have to make judgment calls. Like, how am I going to discipline my children? How am I going to raise my children? You have to make judgment calls. And so we're not talking about that type of judgment. We're talking about where the pride enters. And I'm better than you.
Right.
I get to tell you
where need to
you're
do
wrong.
This. You need to do that. Right.
You are less of a person because of my opinion
right.
of you. That's the judgment we're talking about.
And that comes out in the communication that you have.
Does. And so strong families try to limit that type of communication, right?
Yeah. You're helpful.
Yeah.
Still helpful, right?
Because parents,
like you
have to be critical.
You view something that is driving a wedge, and you make an attempt to find something, some either a commonality or how can I help this person to overcome this weakness or whatever. But it's not in judgment.
It's in the way that they will respond to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, and your communication isn't just verbal. 90% of your communication is nonverbal. It's your tone of voice. It's the look on your face. It's how you're holding your body. It's timing. Okay, creepy, thanks.
I'm using some body language.
Yeah, and that says creepy. Anyway, okay, so 90% is nonverbal. So if your whole body is like angry, but your voice is like
something.
Oh, thank you, and your whole body is like, they're gonna get the and not the thank you, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's see. The next one is time spent together. So their label was slightly different. They said quality time together. Quality time comes from a quantity of time. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't schedule quality time. You cannot choose the outcome of a relationship time. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, you don't get to choose how they behave.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose the weather. You don't, right? So, like, if you're on a hike and you get rained out and you're soaking wet and everybody's complaining and muddy, and that's quantity of time. And how they respond to that is what makes it quality time. And so you cannot choose how people perceive their time together as a family, but you can, as an individual, choose, I am going to value this time I'm spending with my family and choose to enjoy my time and choose to make it valuable, of quality, of merit, instead of just sitting next to each other showing each other memes. Right? No offense, but hate that all the teenagers are in a room together and they're texting each other and you're sitting right next to each other. Just talk to each other, right?
Yeah.
No, they're showing each other stupid memes.
Yeah,
I hate that. They need to learn how to be together and spend time together.
And something needs to be said for this too. If you do have kids and you're looking at that relationship, there needs to be that time. If you're a super, super busy parent, like, happens a lot,
like us,
then you're going to be in situations where you might not be able to meet the needs of your kids. And
not every need of every
right.
child will be met every
right.
moment of every day, right? Sometimes
So,
somebody's need supersedes another.
Right. And so there's a triage with that, of course. It is, and you have to be
Right.
careful, because if you're spending all of your time dealing with problem child, for example, and the good kid is sitting there in the background getting ignored, oh, that poor kid.
Right.
You know, so you need to make sure that you're mindful about time, because it has its limits.
Yeah.
And
The squeaky wheel can't always get the grease.
Right.
You gotta pay attention to the good ones too.
Yeah. And vice versa. Like if you're just spending all your time with the good kid because they're easy, then that's going to backfire as well.
Exactly. And the way you spend your time together communicates what your family values.
Yeah.
And so when you are together, what are you communicating to your kids? That my phone is more important than you? My movie, my TV, my shows,
Right.
my device, my video game, whatever
Yep.
it is.
Whatever.
Is that more important than spending time with you? Like, if you have dinner together as a family, are you on your devices? Or, how you spend time with your family matters.
Yeah, it does.
Like, I remember when we were in California, and our oldest was about to move to Nebraska, or finding out that she was going to move to Nebraska. We went on a family vacation because we thought it would be the last time our family's together.
Yeah.
Well, that's not how that turned out, but
No.
we wanted a family vacation. So my brother lived in California, and so we went to California. And Disneyland was way out of our budget, but we went to Knott's Berry Farm for one day.
Yeah.
And we were going to bring sandwiches, right? So that we didn't
Oh,
have to
man.
spend hundreds
Poor
of
mama.
dollars on food. We forgot our loaf of bread. We forgot our bread. And so I spent the whole day in food lines because one person would get hungry and I would buy everybody food, and it wouldn't be enough because the portions are so teeny. And so as soon as they're done eating, I was in
Stinking
another
parks.
food line. It was so bad. And so I got to go on like 5 rides, and 3 of them were the exact same ride. And the other ride, I was stuck with the whiny kids. I'm not naming names. But believe it or not, I had a fabulous time because
Yeah.
I was with my family. And we were doing...
Wasn't about the rides.
It wasn't about the rides. It was about being together, right? Mm-hmm. And so even though it was not what I envisioned a theme park should be, it was still an enjoyable time for me. And so manage your disappointments with your family time by managing your expectations and saying, I'm going to choose to enjoy my time with my family and not ruin it with external things. It's your choice. So next week we will talk about the other 3.
Other 2, I think.
1, 2. Oh.
Yeah.
So okay, well, whatever. The other 2. And we will so this week your assignment is evaluate where you are weak in the areas that we talked about and identify something that you can do to improve 1% in that area.
Yeah.
Just do something to improve in that area. Just a little bit.
Show the love. Be committed.
Or like stay in a
Improve